Hello and welcome everybody to today's edition of Breaking News Business here at Mexico News Network. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman. Remember to follow us on all our social networks and to catch us every day by logging onto our website, mexiconewsnetwork.com, for relevant stories and news. Let's start with today's show. There are tight bonds that fortify the bilateral relationship between Mexico and the United States, and one of them is proximity. For many years, Mexican cities along the American border have taken advantage of its location and the parity of the US dollar against the Mexican peso. And in recent months, this situation has brought an interesting boom in the local Mexican economy. While in the rest of Mexico, people are worried about the elevated price of the dollar along the frontier, Mexicans are celebrating. But why? Because as a result of the strong dollar, more American citizens than ever before have been crossing the border to spend their money in our country. This is a peculiar change because for many years Mexicans used to cross to shop at stores in California, Arizona, New Mexico or Texas. But now the situation has reversed. The Mexican peso has fallen 44%, causing the appearance of the super dollar, and the rise on the crossings from United States to Mexico from 2.1 to 2.5 million since the first quarter of the year. Clothing, electronics, medical services and automobiles are among the items that now carry smaller price tag, as the greenback's appreciation is muscling the peso, giving an added boost to US household buying power, which is already benefiting from the lowest gasoline prices in 6 years and larger job gains. These acquisitions are really profitable as the prices could reach as much as 50% of the price paid in the US. Meanwhile, on the other side of the border, the story is different because the number of Mexicans that shop in American convenience stores has fallen significantly. For example, in San Diego, California, where the consumption decreased by 40%. In other headlines, this year marks the dual year Mexico-Germany, and as part of it, and for the period 2016 to 2020, 7 companies from Germany pledged investments of approximately $3.8 billion, an amount that represents 62% of total foreign direct investment from the European country in the last year. Germany's foreign direct investment is particularly important to Mexico because of the maquiladora sector, or manufacturing plants that assemble goods for export. Germany's manufactured exports are critical to Mexico's position in the global economy. ThyssenKrupp, Grünenthal, BMW, Bosch, Daimler, Kronberg and Schubert and Volkswagen Group are the 7 German companies developing plants or buying businesses in Mexico with the vision to export to key markets like the US and the rest of the nations of Latin America. BMW will invest $1 billion between 2016 and 2019 to build a car assembly plant in San Luis Potosí in order to serve the US, Europe and Latin American markets. In addition, Bosch will invest $100 million over the next 2 years to expand production of brakes, ABS. Grünenthal Pharmaceutical bought Almirall for $34 million, and with this it looks to grow in the production of drugs for common ailments. Daimler, in partnership with Nissan, will invest $1,300 million between 2016 and 2018 for the construction of luxury models of Mercedes-Benz. And Infinity Brands in Aguascalientes, on the other hand, ThyssenKrupp, the company dedicated to the manufacture of automotive parts, will invest $284 million in order to increase its manufacturing of axles and other parts for vehicle assembly in Mexico and the United States. Finally, Kronberg and Schubert will make an investment of $65 million over 2 years for an automotive parts plant in Guanajuato, and Volkswagen Group will invest $1 billion this year for the production of its new T1 SUV in the Puebla plant. Moving on, Audi, the German brand of luxury cars, plans to open a plant that will produce the electric version of its Q5 model in Mexico. Audi's plans call for its new $1.3 billion Mexican facility to eventually produce all of the firm's Q5 models sold anywhere in the world. On September the 30th, the factory will open in San Jose, Chiapas, in the Mexican state of Puebla, and it will be the first installation of premium cars in the country. Audi's local manufacturing activities will eventually generate 3,800 direct labor positions. The siting of Audi's new facility in Mexico is part of a growing trend of global automotive OEMs to use the country as a springboard from which to export vehicles to the United States and Canada, as well as to many other nations with which it has negotiated free trade agreements. Audi plans to produce the Q5 SUV that uses gasoline, but also plans to introduce the electric version in the short term for sale in international markets. Currently, the conventional Q5 is manufactured in Ingolstadt, Germany, for global export, and is also produced in China and India, only for local sales. This is one of the best-sold models worldwide of the company. The company is currently training the staff, and the factory in Mexico will have an initial yearly production capacity of 150,000 units. In other news, integrating immigration reform, punishing actions towards drugs, and no walls are some of the main promises inside the agenda of Hillary Clinton, candidate for the presidency of the United States of America. Clinton, of the Democratic Party, has a twist in her campaign against her rival Donald Trump. Unlike him, she doesn't seek to build walls nor sever commercial ties with Mexico, let alone try to deport 11 million Mexicans without a visa. In her campaign, Hillary Clinton has promised to pass a new law called Integrating Immigration Reform, which means that the high number of immigrants entering into the USA, many of them with families and having lived in the country for many years now, will get a chance to earn their green card, thus attributing them as an essential part of the US economy. Different specialists consider that this movement will allow them to sustain a proper relationship with Mexico. To prioritize the residency to millions of Mexicans that have lived for years in the US is a smart move for them. Part of her plan as president will be to continue boosting the Merida Initiative, an international safety treaty established by the United States in conjunction with Mexico and countries in Central America to fight against drug cartels and organized crime. Also, part of her plan is to continue legalizing marijuana in more states in an effort to prevent violence provoked by illegal transactions and maintain better gun control in the country. All this will be decided on November the 8th when the country chooses who their new leader will be for the next 4 or 8 years. And finally, in economics, the Mexican peso decreased 0.76% from 18.46 in the previous trading session. The peso changed down 2.66% during the last week, negative 1.58 during the last month, and up 16.62 during the last year. Mexico's IPC index increased 0.39% to 46,360 from 46,178 in the previous trading session. Mexico's IPC index changed up 1.18% during the last week, up 2.262% during the last month, and up 3.4% during the last year. This was all for today. Thank you for staying with us. I'm your host, Elliot Bullman, and remember to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. Log on to our website, MexicoNewsNetwork.com, for more information on Mexico and the world. Until next time.